Hi, welcome to Journey to Salvation. I'm your host, Arlene Polite, and today I have a special guest with me, Catryce Peeples. Hey, Catryce, how you doing?
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. It is such an awesome day today because I have you on my show. Hey, y'all, this is my neighbor. We prayed for good neighbors. We prayed for good neighbors, and God sent us Catryce. Catryce is an RN. She's also an intercessor. And guess what? She bakes. Oh my God, Catryce, we've been fighting, trying not to ask you for any cupcakes. But these cupcakes are so good. They're so delicious. But before the show ends, I'll allow you to talk some more about it. But thank you for being who you are. You're awesome. You're doing awesome in the kingdom. And this is about salvation. And I'm excited that you're about to give your testimony because somebody needs to hear you. We have a voice. And everybody needs to know that they have a voice. They have a testimony, and the world needs to hear it. So, Catryce, my first question to you is, why did you get saved? Why did you decide to give your life to Christ?
I decided many years ago to give my life to Christ because first and foremost, I was raised in my belief in Christianity, and I know right from wrong. And after many years of running from what God had called me to do, I decided approximately about 15, 20 years ago to commit my life to God and to live my life for God. Because there's so many people that are in the world that think that it's better to be on that side than to be serving God. So I had my life of having fun out there in the world, but then I have more fun on this side because I know
Come
that I
on
have a
now.
salvation in the kingdom.
Yes.
So I decided to just live my life for God and help people through that manifestation of living for God and showing them that you can be young and still live for the Lord and have fun.
That's right. So, at what age exactly did you dedicate yourself to the Christ, or was it a process?
It's been a process. I've had some fall downs. So, we're not perfect. I was
That's right.
about 23. I had my first child when I was 21. And he was my lifesaver. God gave me him to slow me down.
Wow.
And that was my eye opener that I had to live a better life before him. And then he blessed me with two girls after that. So I continued to live before them the proper way. And I know that they've been my help to keep me on the right path because I want to raise them in the right manner in order to show them that it's okay to be young, have fun, but you also got to honor God while you're doing these things.
So first of all, you met Christ at home or going to church, or did your parents brought you up in a church?
My parents brought me up in the church, so I've always knew
Okay.
God,
Uh-huh.
and I always knew right from wrong per se.
Yeah.
But of course, as young people, we want to live our life other ways.
That's
Um,
right.
but I will give another part of my personal walk with God is that I'm a dreamer. So
Okay.
God comes to me in dreams, and He brought before me a dream about salvation and about being left behind.
Wow.
So at the age of 15, I had my first dream of being left behind. So I was like, I did not want to be left behind.
Yeah.
But from the age of about 16 to 20-ish, I still, lived a wild life out there doing all kinds of stuff with those wonderful people in the world. And then he reminded me of my dream gift by giving me other dreams of that my life wasn't being pleasing to him. So I had to get it together.
Did you share
Um,
your dream with anyone, with your parents or anyone?
the first dream I had, I shared with my mom. And at the time, it scared me. So we
Okay.
called the pastor that I had at the time, and he explained to me what the dreams were. And
Okay.
it opened up my eyes to what that meant. And
Okay.
so, for many years, I still didn't go on with the dream. I was a dreamer up until about, I want to say about 7 years ago is when I truly understood my calling. Um, because I still would have the dreams, but I never put them together.
Okay.
Um, I never really told people about what I was dreaming or what I seen in my dreams or anything. But then when God showed me different things in my dream that were happening, it really opened my eyes to say, okay, this is what one of your callings is. And then my other calling was to be a prayer intercessor. So I was like, okay. So
How did you know you wanted to, or one of your gifting is to be an intercessor? What prompted you, or how
because
did you know?
like in confirmation, God always give you confirmation through people or things.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the time I was starting to have like a prayer group. And it was with me and my sister and a few couple other ladies that we just prayed every morning. And God laid on my heart to invite them to do a prayer group every morning. And that's what we started doing. And
Wow.
so I never understood why people would always tell me, you can pray. And I'm like, I just know
Like,
how to
okay.
pray. Yeah, it's like, okay. Because I've never been a person to want to be like flaunting or anything like that. I'm a very mild person. I'm a very meek and just
Conservative.
conservative and, humble person. So
Mm-hmm.
when they would tell me this, I was like, thank you. But, I'm doing it just to benefit God and to, honor him. So I was in a church service and I knew, I know how to pray and everything. And then but then the pastor at the time, he confirmed that, God called you to be a prayer warrior. And then because I have to cover certain people in my family, because of their calling, I understood more and more what my calling was to be that prayer warrior for them, to cover them. So,
Okay.
I started learning how to be a better prayer warrior. So then therefore I get different tools. I have a lot of different prayer books, and as a blessing in a portion of my ministry, I would bless others with prayer books and show them how to pray. Because a lot of people, in the midst of me doing the calls and the prayer line, I had a lot of ladies that would say, well, I don't know how to pray. I say, you know how to pray if you know how to talk to God. If you're talking to me, you can pray. Because it's all about the
Yes.
aspect of you just communicating with him like you're talking to me.
Conversation.
You have a
Yes.
conversation. I said it's about your relationship with him. You just have to have that personal relationship with him where you don't try to do all this hooping and hollering. It's just
Yeah.
talking to God. And
Yeah.
so that was my way of understanding that I was supposed to teach others on how to pray, on how to just talk to God. Don't all the extras and everything it's okay, but mainly just to get humble and talk to God.
It
And
could be
also,
distracting, all that
yes,
extra stuff. Yeah.
all the extras can be very distracting if people
Yeah.
not listening to what you're saying.
Right.
And then too, it taught me how to show them in the prayer books that I would bless them with was that you would need to learn how to pray, but also line your prayer up with word. Because in those books, a lot of times there would be scripture adjoined with the prayers so that you knew how to go into your word to find what you needed to find to be able to pray about those things in those situations. So that's
Wow.
one way that it helped me to learn my calling and how to help others in theirs. Um,
Well, you said you had your first child, your son, at age 21, you
21.
said? Okay. Prior to that, were you praying, doing an intercessor prayer, or? Okay, so you're just doing your thing.
I'll,
I
I'll give
mean,
you
so many.
my other testimony because so many people think that, oh, you can't live, you can't, you can't be forgiven. I was a very young alcoholic
Oh, okay.
because I didn't do all those other things, but I like to drink and party. So when I had my first son, of course you can't drink. It brought me to understanding and praying about my
Ah,
son and my pregnancy and about being sober and not just
wow.
partying all the time and getting drunk all the time per se, but it made me understand that it's okay you can still have fun without being drunk. And so,
Yes.
I was like, I don't have to live like this, because we
Mm.
partied 7 days a week when I was in the world. And I'm like, I can party just like that for God and just enjoy it. So when I got pregnant, it was a time for me to have that relationship again with God. I would pray because I would pray over my pregnancy and my child so that I would have a blessed pregnancy and a blessed child. It brought me closer.
So wait, I love this. I get excited about people's testimony because you're saying some things that we are faced with as humans, as people that searching, the path to righteousness. We fall, we fail, and we feel that we shouldn't make mistakes. Things shouldn't happen. We got to be perfect. But this is what I call perfection, because here it is that God came in the midst of your situation and he guided you with that situation. So, people will be like, oh my God, that's a terrible thing. And, you've been going to church, you were raised in the church, and here it is, you got pregnant. But the Lord used your situation.
Yes.
And he does that all day
All the
long.
time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's no guilt, there's no regret, because it's a process. You had to go the path that you went. And the question I want to ask you, when you had those dreams prior to having your first child, you had those dreams, did anyone sit with you really to guide you, to ask you questions about, to give you some foundation of what you were experiencing, or you just basically was told this is what is it, and you just went on your way?
No one truly sat with me. It's okay. It's kind of crazy, but my sister is a prophet, so
Okay.
we're very close. And me and her would sit and talk about different things because
Okay.
of the calling on her life, and then she would explain different things to me of how to understand my dreams and not to be
Good.
afraid when I had the dreams, because her encounter she would have. And so that was the only true person that me and her are very close, and we are able to sit and talk about our lives as far as what our gifts are, because a lot of times people in the world don't understand, and so they will call you
Yes.
weird, they'll call you different. So you
Yeah.
have to have somebody that you can talk to on the level that understands what your gift is
Right.
and what your calling is, and be able to show you the proper way to utilize those gifts
Wow.
and not utilize them for the enemy, because you can use them for both means. But that was my sister was my one go-to person, and still is my go-to person a lot of times,
Wonderful.
that helped me to understand what my calling is and how to utilize it.
And she's older than you are?
Yeah, she's older than me. She's 6 years older than me.
Man, it's so good to have someone there, because as teenagers, we're gonna do we're gonna do
Yes.
what we do because we have our friends.
Yes.
We want to enjoy life. We're searching also. We are seeking for our place in life. So we're gonna go east, west, north, up, down.
Yes.
Sometimes it looks crazy, but your foundation was set about meeting God, and that is so awesome. So are you from Florida, or where are you from originally?
I'm born and raised from Leesburg, Florida.
Okay. Okay, so you started a church. Are you in the same church that you were in from the beginning?
I am back in my home church. I've jumped a couple times, and it helped me to grow, in all reality. Because
Why did you do that? Why did you move to other churches?
I don't agree with I don't agree with everything that my home church is affiliated with.
Okay.
And so I searched other denominations per se, and it helped me to learn different things and aspects,
Okay.
because my home church is African Methodist Episcopal, and so it gave me foundation. And then I went and was sat under Kojic, Church of God in Christ, and then I return to the AME.
Why?
It's I return back to my AME, but at the end of the day, I'm a radical Christian. I believe in God. And so I go to that church, but
Yeah.
then because it's my family church, but I believe that you have to just please God. All that other stuff is just extra. Um, and I still am one of the open mouth people that don't always go by what they tell me to do, I guess. So, but
I'm like that too.
it's like I just have to tell them, at the end of the day, what is all of this doing to please God?
Mm-hmm.
So, if it's not pleasing God, they don't usually ask me about coming to different meetings and stuff because I'm the one that's going to say, is this a pleasing to God or is this pleasing man? Which one are we doing? And is
Wow.
this going to bring a soul for God or is this going to win a pocket increasement?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're not increasing the kingdom, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to, understand that, yes, it's all good to have foundation, but you also need to be truly honoring God.
And you're showing me that you have a mind of your own. I love
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
because too many times, I'm making that clear.
Yes.
No, because Catryce, I've been controlled all my life from home to church. I did what they told me to do.
Yeah.
So I embrace you. I embrace, my husband is like that, my pastor, transparent, and it's encouraged. Have a mind of your own. You weren't born to be in one place. Life is a process. So I'm asking you this question because people need to understand it's okay if where you are, if you're feeling some kind of way, something is going on, step back a little, reassess the situation. Sometimes the Lord may have you for a moment to go and sit under another ministry to hear, or to even online or whatever. Here, open your heart and mind to learn, to get more. Because something on the inside, I believe, is always tugging at you or, or pushing you to, hey, there's more. There's more.
Yeah.
And it's important not to sit one place. Now, do you feel like just visiting somewhere else, do you feel better, like you've learned some more to bring back home to where you started?
Yes, and
Are you satisfied?
no. I
Okay.
feel as though it's more that we can do as Christians and as people of God than benefiting the world. It's a lot of times that I just don't agree with a lot of things as far as all the programs to benefit people and not benefiting God. Because it needs to go back to my belief is it needs to go back to the old type of revivals of where we're saving souls.
Yes.
And not just collecting offering.
Not a
because
program.
A program is not what we need. We need a true revival. It needs to be where people see that God is still in the healing business. He's still in the blessing business. He's still able to provide for you. Even when it's not materialistic things, he's still able to heal your body. He's still able to heal your mind, because there's so many people right now that are, suffering from mental illnesses that don't realize if they just get in their word and trust God, he can heal their mind and get them back focused and take that spirit of mental illness off of them.
Yes.
But because of so many ministries that are not teaching that, people are just going astray and going into other things and believing other things. Because we don't have people showing our people how to pray, how to trust God, how to honor him, and then he'll bless you. But we have to, the ones that are vocal, we have to be vocal in all aspects and not just sitting at the house saying, oh, I'm going to cover my house and not worry about the next door neighbor. But you have to cover everybody. Yes,
the body of Christ. And I'm so thankful that for your life, because you're showing us a lot of things that in the church. I talk about the church because the Lord has given me that vision and that go ahead to help people to be healed, because relationship can be difficult, because we are not taking note of ourselves and searching, questioning, all that stuff, making a difference where we are. You are in your home church with the knowledge that you've received. Are you able to use it where you are? Are you getting like a fight? How are you? How is your life, your giftings, benefiting where you are?
I'm actually blessed because I have a pastor now who allows us to be us.
Okay.
She honors the denomination that she sits under, but she also said that the first and foremost, we're there to please God. So I don't, we're able to go to her with ideas and talk to her about different things, and also utilize our gifts to bring
Good.
others to God.
Good.
And she utilizes us to be that voice piece that she may not understand how to be or what to do. She comes to her members and her people that she know have different
Wow.
callings and talk to them to help her understand more. So it's like we've all grown together on our walk with God and our gifts from God and our anointings, because at the end of the day, we have to all work together to be able to bring more souls to God. And if you
Yes.
don't have a leader that's able to be humble and see what his members and his or her members have in their lives to help them build, then there's no building there. They're all just worshiping him and not worshiping God.
Yeah. Wow. I love that because right now we're having a lot of trouble in the body of Christ. We've been having a lot of trouble, and I believe God is doing a reset this year. And he's checking leadership,
Yeah.
because God is the head of all of this. So he, as the boss, so to speak, as the overseer, he will dismantle when things are not going right. He will dismantle. He will
Yeah.
shuffle. He was like, this is not acceptable, because he knows we're human. We get sidetracked and we do our own thing and get caught up. And I really believe that the church has really failed. I mean, there are many people that are doing, right. They are great leaders in the churches, but then there are some leaders that they haven't gotten it yet. It's as if it's a struggle. They're holding on to the building. They're holding on to the people. They're stifling. They're not doing discipleship. And the things that the older women, like in Titus, it said the older women should be teaching the younger women how to be wives or how to be, how to be mature, and the older men should be teaching the young men. And I've been to different churches and I don't really see that. I think so much have gone over our heads. They're talking about God, but I think the training, the teaching, the one-on-one, I think that is so missing. The counseling, because I'm a faith-based counselor, and I think coming up in the 80s, 90s, I didn't hear about counseling. It was the pastor. You have a problem, you go to the pastor. And the pastor may not necessarily know how to counsel you, may not know how, So that is so awesome that you have a pastor that's open. Pastors need to be open to their congregation. It's about discipleship. It's about seeing the giftings and guiding. Because when I started out in a church, my pastor saw my gift. I didn't know much about myself. I didn't even know what, too much. I was in the church. I was excited with the saints. I did everything, but I didn't really know my call. And my pastor saw something in me, and he grabbed that thing and he started molding me, started giving me put me in front of the congregation to speak. Speak a word. So I think it's so important for leaders to see that. So I'm so glad that you're able to function where you are, because also when you have a call on your life, some leaders don't really connect. They tend to feel like you're going to take over.
Yeah. And that was the sad part about it. That was one of the churches that I sat under. The pastor, he didn't appreciate the calling that was on a lot of the members' lives, because he had, I guess, a fear of it. But it's like you really need to utilize it instead of having a fear.
Yes.
Because we all supposed to work together to bring souls.
There you go.
But
because the Bible talk about
and I left.
What is it? What the Bible said? Dust the dust off your feet. Shake the dust off your
Yeah.
feet,
And
and
then
keep it
it's like,
moving.
even though, a lot of times people are like, you shouldn't jump for church. I said, I utilize my prayer and my understanding with God to show me where I need to go. And, when I needed to change,
Yes.
I changed. And like
Mm.
now I stay where I'm at because yes, it is my family church. And I know that there's a need for me there. So if God tells me to move again, I will move. But right now I'm going to sit still until he tells me your season here is done and move on. But
Wow. Wow.
yeah,
I like to pause right here. Man, this is so good. Everyone, our listeners, please listen carefully because this talk right here is needed. I didn't hear a lot of this growing up. We weren't taught to be real, to be ourselves, even to know ourselves really, and to be who we're called to be. Your gift's supposed to guide you. You should never be stuck at any building, church building, at any location, even a job. Because
amen.
I wasn't even comfortable at some of the jobs that I've had. I just can be comfortable, Catryce. It's as if I was there, like you said, seasoned. I was there. I ministered to some people that I've met. They ministered into my life, and then it was time I started to feel comfortable. Like I gotta get out of here. Your gift will stir you up, and it will move you to where you need to be. And it's important to pray,
Yes,
have a relationship with God. Daily prayer because you need to hear his voice to guide you. After all, he's the one that gave us the gifts,
that's true.
So we need, and we don't really know the fullness of it. So we need guidance. We need him to guide us. So it's important to pray, have a conversation, talk with him. We learn to jump in church and to dance and carry on sometimes, and we take that same attitude to God, and God is like, come on, man, I don't need all that.
That's
Just
true.
God wants us to be authentic. He wants us to be real. Just talk. Just talk with him. God, I love what you did to this world. I love what you're doing in my life. Yesterday I felt this way because this happened. Lord, what, you did something and I didn't really like that, but it's just being real with God, and God loves that.
Yes.
And it's good to be open to change and to learn. And you did that, Catryce. You felt led to go somewhere else because sometimes you've outgrown where you are. Sometimes you need to hear another voice. And it's okay. Never allow anyone to control you, a leader or anyone, because when you have a gift, it's your gift that guides you. And speaking to your leaders, if you're functioning in that church, they need to understand where you are. They need to have that conversation with you and be able to relate, because there's a hand, a foot. We all have different call, but the same God. It's
Yes.
the same spirit.
Yes.
So, and you're waiting on God. You're not rushing trying to go anywhere. You're waiting on the Lord to lead and to guide. Wow. And you still have that prayer group, you said?
No, not at this time. We still communicate, but I don't do it every day anymore.
Okay. Tell me, how does your relationship, because you're an RN, what does your spiritual life look like on the job? How does God use you?
Well, currently I'm able to utilize my spiritual and calling even the more. I am a hospice nurse currently.
Okay.
And utilizing the ability to talk with people and the patients about, just praying and trusting their, we can't per se give them our feeling of what our belief is, but we can utilize the fact that we can tell them trust and understand and helping them in the transitioning process, because a lot of times there are family members that I've been blessed that most of the family members I've encountered believe in God. So I was able to pray with them or be there and flow with them and give them, that final,
wow,
love, showing it through being there with them, comforting them, because a lot of times my duty is to go with them after the person has passed. And so I'm able to love on them, help them or either I'm dealing with the transitioning process, so I'm able to help them with understanding and praying through that process to give them a little bit understanding on what's going on, and helping them to, understand that God, He's the giver and the taker of life, but we have to just be able to accept it. And
So, so you're able to communicate with that person and the family. You're able to
mhm,
minister to the family also.
yes.
Okay. Do you get very emotional or cry at times, or have to leave the room to cry or stuff like that?
um I've been a nurse a long time, and
How
it's
long?
different. I've been a nurse for almost 20 years,
Okay.
and it's
Wow.
different aspects. I used to have some emotional, but now, because I don't have the everyday interaction with these people, I'm able
Okay.
to not be like broken down. I may have an emotional moment, but usually I don't. And it's not that because a lot of times people will take that as being heartless or they don't have any emotion. It's not that. It's just that I pray a lot of times before I go to these people's homes to give me the strength to be the strong person for them. Because a lot of times
Purpose.
you can't break down more than they are.
Right.
You have to be there with
Yeah.
them to help them. So I had to pray and just ask God to give me the strength to be able to endure the process of dealing with a lot of these families and the person when they've passed on. And it took me a long time to get here because I've done
Yeah.
a lot of different nursing, and I never thought in a million years that I would be a hospice nurse.
Oh
But
wow.
now I was like, this is the season where I need to do this, because I'm able
Mm.
to help and show that person at their last encounter most of the time, or else after they've went on, give their body respect and show the family that, we still love you, we are still here, and to just show them how to pray and ask God to keep on continuing to guide them on their journey. And so I'm able to utilize my gift in just talking with families, or either helping the person when they're in their last stages of life to be able to transition with peace.
Wow, that is awesome. That is so awesome. Because in life we need someone there at certain points, if certain points
Hmm.
in life, and it's such a blessing for you to be that person, because I'm sure at that point it's a lot of comfort in that needs, a lot of,
Hmm.
like it's gonna be okay, and man, that's an awesome task.
Yes.
And thank God for that. Thank God for you. For back to your children, do you? Because one of my sisters, I have 6 sisters and a brother. My youngest sister, she's an RN, and my mom has worked in the health field for a long time. She wasn't able to be an RN, but she desired for one of her children to be a nurse. And surprisingly, my youngest sister, the one that we least expected, and she's here in Florida now. Do you desire for any of your children to follow in your footsteps, being
Not
a nurse?
desire, but my baby, she has the desire to be a nurse. The other two, they don't know what they want to do.
Oh,
Um,
okay, they don't know yet.
no. But I always tell them, whatever you want to do, I'll support you as long as it's something creative and something purposeful. We're not gonna just be moms. We have to do things in life. So, but I just tell them
So,
whatever their dream is, I'll support them 100%. So,
okay, good.
mhm.
So, do you have that talk? Because growing up, again, I like to refer to my life because I thank God for where I am now. I mean, I believe I'm being very successful and in a good place because I got it. And still processing, still going through the process.
Mhm.
Didn't have, my parents gave us what they had, and I love my parents. My dad is not here, but my mom is, and I cherish her. Having a conversation with your children, how important is that? To have, just conversation with your children about life. How important is that to you?
It's very important. Me and my kids have a good relationship. And we talk about everything. I always tell them, no matter what, good or bad, you never hold any secret. We talk about everything. And a lot of people don't understand that that is a very important factor of a relationship with your children. It's not about you being their friend. It's about you being a person that they can feel comfortable going.
Yes.
Because if they can't feel comfortable coming to you about things in their lives and what's going on in their little lives, you have to give them another aspect if you don't feel comfortable talking with them. So, but I've always had that open door policy with my kids that they can talk to me about anything. And we're we're good with each other. They sometimes they'll hesitate because they know I have my moments when mama don't always want to be bothered. But um we talk about everything. And
Man.
even my son, because he is the oldest, um we have a unique relationship, and a lot of people don't understand him, but I know he's just like his mom. He's very mild, he's very meek, he's very humble, but he come to me about everything, and I appreciate that,
Wow.
because it's a lot of times you have kids that are out there doing all kind of things because they don't have anybody to talk to about their personal problems that they're going through. So
How old is your son?
he's 21.
And how old is your youngest?
12.
Okay, y'all. Man, this is so good. It's so important for parents to connect with their children. Do you share, Catryce? Do you share things you have gone through in your lifetime with them so that they can
Yes.
see and okay, because that is so important. Some parents are afraid to tell their kids
And
about.
no, and like with my son, because he's 21 and we pretty much it was just me and him for so long. We have a open kind of relationship to where it's a lot of times where he would say things to me that would bring me back, because like you said, we're
Wow.
human and we make mistakes. And so it was a point in my life where I started back going out, and I was like, I didn't do all the wild stuff, but I did go out. And so then he made a comment one time sitting in the car with me. He said, I had said, I'm not going out anymore. He said, okay, you'll say that now, and then about a couple years down the road, you'll stop. And I looked and I said, oh, it's over. I'm done.
I'm the mama.
I'm never doing this again. Because he brought it to my reality that he was watching me. And so I was like, this child is watching my behavior, and I can't live a life in front of him saying one thing and doing another.
How old was he then?
He was only probably about 12 or 13. And I was like, wow. I said, I got to stop. I can't do this. I didn't go out no more, and I haven't been out since. And I was like, no.
But that's awesome, because that means you've been communicating with him and showing him right from wrong. Now and a lot of parents can attest that their child was able to say, hey, mama, hey, dad,
Yes, because he was like, you're going to church tomorrow, but you're going to the club tonight. I was like, buddy, you can't say that to me. And he was like, but mommy, that's not right. I said, okay, baby, you're correct. You're correct.
Oh, wow. I love that. That shows, that you're giving them a foundation, and that's awesome. Yeah. That is so awesome. So, while you were in church, were you in church like as a teenager, or you say you were raised in the church, right?
Yeah.
Did you, like, at one point, like, man, forget this, in your young age, like, forget this. This is not what I don't want to be here.
I never. I can truly say, no matter what, I always knew where I had to go. And that was, like my son would tell us, I would go and hang out all week, but I knew I had to be in church on Sunday morning, because the way my mom and my dad raised us. No matter what you're doing, if you can go out and party all week, you can give God his time on Sunday. So we still made sure we went to church. But I had to realize that you can't party all week for the devil and then come and praise God on Sunday. You can't do that. And so, thank God for my son, who he's called to, but he voiced and checked me. Well, you can't live like that. You can't live out there going to the club all week long, and then on Sunday you want to run to the church. You can't do that.
Oh, my God. How about them, all your children? How do they embrace church? How do they embrace church? Or Uh-oh.
Um, because I forced them all their life to be in church because they were the ones who had the encounter when mom was really in church. Um, they're fine with it, but a lot of times they don't want to do the
The church, the
church
tradition and
tradition.
rituals.
Yes. They'll go to church because they know that's where they have to, but they prefer to just read their word, pray to God, and just go on. And I was like, they're of age now, and I've told them,
Yeah.
you're of age that you have to be accountable for yourself. Even my
Yes.
12-year-old, because she's very intelligent, she understands. I said, God knows I've raised you all to honor him, to worship him, and to serve him. So now if you decide that you're not going to get up and go to church, you got to answer
That's
to
on
God for
you.
yourself. So they usually get up and go when we were still going to services. Now I go into the room where they're at when the service is online because they're still interacting, even though they may not be fully listening. They're there. So.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Man, that is so good because we were forced to go to church too, but it was one sided. We didn't know what life was all about. We knew about church, how to do church. We spent a lot of times in church, but we didn't have a balance. We couldn't say no. Yes, we had to go to church until we were grown and left the house. Yeah, so it is so good to give your children that balance, that they understand this is what it looks like, this is what it is, and just I think giving from a look at myself, giving your children the opportunity to learn. Sometimes I think parents are harsh on and I'm speaking about this because of what I've experienced through life. So I think some parents become very harsh, like, you have to, as long as you live in my house, you got to go to, and they're not having a conversation. They just shouting at you, or talking at you instead of having a conversation. How do you feel about this? Give them a voice. In other words, they need to have a voice of their own. And so this is so good. Do you believe that? What do you think that God is the biggest thing that God is trying to tell the younger generation today? Because I don't see the younger generation trying to be like us in the 80s, the 70s, and all that. So, what do you think God is trying to
I
show them?
I believe that God is trying to show the younger generation that he's still God. No matter what man is trying to do, he's still God. Because even with the pandemic and everything that's going on in this world, at the end of the day, God still has the final say. No matter what man tries to do, as you can see, they've said this month it'll be gone, that month it'll be gone. But at the end of the day, I feel as though this is a tactic of God trying to tell us it's time to get back on your knees and come to me. Ask me for forgiveness, ask me for salvation, and then he will solve it. But because of all of the leeway that man has made and all the changes that man have done, he's not pleased with that. So he had to come in and show that he's the only way that this is going to be solved, and that the younger generation, that they now may see how to truly come to him, because they can see they can't go to the doctor because he can't solve all the problems. They can't go to these other places because they can't solve the problems. He even shut down the bars and the clubs, so they can't go there to
Yeah.
get the problem solved. They have to trust him throughout this process. And I think it's just an eye opener for everyone that it's time to come back to our roots of coming
Yes.
together, talking to one another, and just praying and asking God for salvation, cleansing us, and keeping us from out into all of the foolishness of the world. I put it as,
Yeah.
because it's a lot of times we get distracted about what things are, and just going and going and going, and not really truly giving God his time. But during this time when he had us all, even quarantined and stuff, and or isolated, it's more of a just, you get tired of watching TV, so sometimes you have to just pick up your word and just read.
Right.
or else just read a book or something. So it's giving you abilities to have different things that you're able to do. And then also it's utilizing the abilities of us, like say for instance with broadcasting, you're able to see other people talking about the goodness of God, whereas before you didn't have time, but now you have a lot of time because you're trying to figure out other things than just watching television.
Yes.
So a lot of people are just, Skyping different things to see what's going on the internet, and they're coming across a lot of the witnesses from other people witnessing about the goodness of God.
Yes. And this is so purposeful because so many times we're in our churches and people on the outside don't really know what's going on. Now I think God is showing, hey, this is what it is, and there's so many truth and and lies that's rising up equally, and it's so important to get the truth, because
Yes.
people are making choices and even bad choices. But do you think the church, do you think people are really getting it from people that you're in your environment, people that you probably encounter, hearing what they're saying? Do you think people are really getting what God is trying to tell us right now,
Not
trying
always.
to reset?
No.
You don't think so? Why you think
Because a
people are
lot
not
of
getting
it
it?
too is because of the political stuff that's going on. That's another distraction. So a lot of times when I encounter people, they'll ask me different things, and I tell them, you know what? To be honest, I don't watch television. If it doesn't come across my phone as a news alert, I don't watch television because that's a distraction. And a lot of times, all this political stuff is a distraction. You got to
Yes.
just trust God. Yes, we need to go out and voice our vote, but we don't need to be so bombarded by all of that. And, research the people, research their whole political walk or whatever. But as far as focusing on that mainly, find other things to focus on. My thing of it is that you need to really just trust God in the process, and to say, you know what, get on your knees and just ask God. You put who you want up there. Yes, I'll guide me on choosing the right people, but you put who you want there. And a lot of times, as far as like with political stuff, I must admit, I don't follow those people. I pray before I go to the voting poll. And I say, God, you guide me. I
Yeah.
say, you show me where I need to mark at. I said, because I truly believe that he's going to put who he's desired to be there and teach
Yeah.
us in the aspect of, even with the sitting people, he's teaching us
Yeah.
that
You
you
said it, I'm
cannot put
sorry.
your faith in man. No,
What
I
people
said
you said?
in the ones that are currently in places that they shouldn't be,
Oh yeah. Okay.
you
Yes.
know,
Yes.
it's about
Yes.
him teaching us. See, you put different people on these pedestals, but at the end of the day, you got to trust God. You got to trust
Exactly.
God. You can't put all your trust in a man. You have to trust God. And I think that's even with the younger people, that's making them realize that, you know, we need to do more.
Yeah.
We need to get out and voice our voices more. We can't just sit back and not do anything. So that's one thing I do see, that they, a lot of young people are more active that way, but I don't think they're really understanding that this is the end times, that we need to be truly trusting God and focusing on him.
And because life is a process,
Mm-hmm.
I'm really noticing that some people don't get it. You know,
Mm-mm.
they, I mean, we may disagree with leadership in our country. We may disagree, but I think as Christians, we need to approach it differently from those
Yeah,
people that are not believers.
that's true.
Because we must understand that the Bible must be fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
And the person that's in place, God has allowed, when you read the Bible, different people to be in place, also to bring his people together, to make us stronger.
Mm-hmm.
There's anything that happens in life, it's not supposed to defeat us as believers. It's supposed to make us
Mm-mm.
stronger,
Stronger.
right? It's supposed to help. It's supposed to guide us to get closer to God, to pray, and to seek what can we do, instead of pointing finger at and cussing out the leader, and
Yes.
because once we start doing that, we are shifting our attention from what God what we believe God may be doing. What is
That's
God? Because
true.
we don't know the fullness of it. We don't know the fullness of what's going on in America or the
No.
world. But one thing we could tell is that the Bible is being fulfilled.
Yes.
Okay, and it's important. And God said to pray for everybody. Pray. You may not agree with the person. You may
That's
not
true.
even vote for the person.
Just pray for everybody.
Yes. Pray.
Yeah.
And my thing is, I pray to God, what can I do now? Because after all, before this pandemic, I think so many people were distracted too with the routine, going to work, going home, and doing their own thing, and God wasn't so much in the equation. And I believe, it's showing, statistics is showing that there are people that are divorcing, there are people, relationships are being interfered in, there's a shuffle in the family. There's a disturbance because I'm not used to being home with my husband. I'm not used to being home with my kids, so to speak. So now I think this pandemic is causing people to be a lot of
together.
people. Yeah. And we're seeing each other's faults. Now we gotta deal with it like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think the Lord wants us to take our time because it's a change.
Yes.
Catryce, we haven't been paying attention to a lot of things in our lives because we were on our own routine and doing things every day, the same thing.
Yeah.
And God is not really the center of it all. So I think people need to use this time to reset.
That's true.
Yeah,
reset and rejuvenate.
Yes.
Yes. And it's like also it's reset, rejuvenate, and reconnect. Reconnect your life with God, because we're really truly having to trust Him now.
Yes.
Because you never know if you're going to have a job anymore, regardless of your job. You have to just truly trust God that everything's going to work out for you.
Yes. Yes. So it's important for us to take our time and to evaluate or check yourself out. How am I responding to life? Not beating on yourself, because and that's another thing. I think we don't have enough patience with ourselves. Sometimes we tend to beat on ourselves, and because while we're doing that, we're missing what's important. We're busy pointing, oh my God, I haven't done this. At my age, I should have accomplished this. My prayer life is out of whack. I'm not even doing what God called me. And, we go on and on. But God is saying, just take your time, step back, reevaluate, and pray. Ask and see where I want you to be, how to bring it together, how to bring yourself in a place, to center yourself in me, so that you can know how to live your purpose, because it's all about purpose.
Yes.
This life is all about purpose, what God called us to do. We could get caught up in doing so many things, but what is your purpose? What's, that fulfillment within? What are you doing?
Yes.
Because we could be doing a whole lot of stuff, and we are off track because we're doing all these things that God is not even in it. So I really appreciate you, Catryce. I appreciate you and your journey and how you're living your life. And that's what I call living life. When you're walking in your purpose, you know who you are. You don't allow people to control you. You're doing you.
Yes.
And you're teaching your children to do the same thing. Okay, so I was going to ask you, where you are right now, having a voice, do you feel that going back to the church, if we're able to go back to the church, okay, what do you think, how you think we should, do you think we should just go back as an open, or what do you think we should be doing now in preparing ourselves? Should we be looking to go back, or should we be looking to, starting ministries online, or what do you think where are we?
I feel as though that, yes, this should be going back into the sanctuary per se, but it needs to be the old way, as far as that is a sacred environment. Go there to worship, to honor God, not all the extras that a lot of things were going on. It's more about meeting there to get your word, to understand the word, to commune and communicate with other Christians or other believers, and just know that that is a time where we're truly honoring Him, not as just a routine. Because a lot of times we get used to just doing things out of routine, whereas we now it's a lot of people that are missing being able to go and lay on the altar, being able to go and just lay themselves before God. I feel as though now it needs to be opened back up to people being able to go and just pray, just have time to just prayer. Not so much of all the extra music and hooping and hollering, but
The
just time,
distraction.
the distraction. Just go and just have times of prayer. Just to lay on before the altar and just talk with God, because He's calling us to be back in that aspect of just worshiping in that aspect, as far as worshiping Him, worshiping and just praying and just talking with Him. Because a lot of times I think that a lot of these sanctuaries had to be closed down because they were becoming cult type environment. They weren't worshiping God anymore. They were focusing on man. So He had to shut it down in order to allow us to say, look, this needs to be back focused on me. And I feel as though, I think that it is an aspect that we need, but it needs to be, like you said, even so much open up more ministries as far as utilizing the internet to be able to connect also. You have those resources now, continue them. So if you get back into the sanctuaries, then you open it as a broadcast so that people in the world can see that it's not as bad as you think it is. We're here to give an honor to God. Let them witness the miracles of God also, because they need to see it too, that there are still miracles happening from God. And a lot of times if a person don't see it, they don't believe it. And then two, they just have to realize that being a Christian or being a believer, you're not going to always have good days. So you can't always show the good things out there. You got to also show the bad things sometimes too, of people. They're going to fall. But you got to give them to understand that we're human. We're not perfect. The only perfect person is God. So, you have to be a open vessel to be able to show people how to walk the proper way.
Be real.
Yeah, you have to be real. You can't, and then stop being so judgmental. You can't be judgmental. We have to be people that give understanding and just say, hey, live your life, but live it in honor of God. So if you do that in the church house, you can do it on the streets.
Yes. Do you think there should be more of a focus on people's giftings, or more talk about it, more conversation?
I have my beliefs on that too, because I'm a believer of a gift is something from God. There are different denominations and places that teach you how to become certain things. You can't be taught how to be certain things. If you don't have a gift from God, that's not a true calling on your life. You can't be taught to be a prophet. You can be taught how to use your gift, but I just don't believe that you can be. So if you're saying we're going to have a better understanding of what you have been given from God, but I can't teach you how to be a intercessor per se, if that's not what God has called you to do, because you will be doing it wrong. In my opinion, you'll do it wrong, because it's then about you. It's not about God. And you have to be really truly living for God if you doing these things, because sometimes you can put self in the way and it interferes with what you're supposed to be doing.
I think there needs to be more of a conversation, like away from the Sunday pulpit preaching, so to speak, that people need to understand, learn who you are, what's inside of you, what's in there. Because we spend so much time looking out, pointing out, and we don't take inventory of ourselves, what's within, because there are treasures within. And I think people need to be taught how to pull that out. I think the focus needs to be individually, because like you said, we work together, the hand, the foot, it's the body. And so in the body of Christ, we have the evangelists, the
Yes.
government help, tongues, speaking in tongues, the gifts of tongues. All those giftings we need to recognize, acknowledge, and train.
And train
People
on
need
what you're calling
training.
is.
Yes.
It's not about you saying, okay, if you have a calling to be a prayer warrior, you can't be going just to join a group because that's what you want to do. No, you need to build
Right.
up what your calling is and ask
Yes.
God to guide you in a leader that can help you with that calling. You don't
Right.
need to jump from thing to thing, because then you're not in the will of God anymore. It's all about
Right.
self.
That's right. That's right. Okay. So I believe we've come to the end of this beautiful and
And
awesome
it's getting dark
testimony.
in here.
Now about your cupcakes. She's sanctified, y'all. She's called for this. I think that's one of your giftings. How did you start making the cupcakes and stuff?
As a child, I baked with my mom. And because she was one of those people that forced you to help her to cook because she catered, I just stopped doing it. As I got older, that's my relief and my relaxation. I bake.
Yes.
And it's my time of just being able to experiment with different things. So I just pray and I talk to God while I'm baking, because I can just relax and do what I want to do at that time.
Yes,
So I started
yes.
back baking.
Yes. And guys, she lives right across from us, so yes, we can walk over there, knock on the door and say, hey, we ready? if she's not answering her phone, we will step to the door. Her cupcakes are so delicious. I've even posted her on my page. Would you like to tell them where to find you? That, because I know you're selling cupcakes right now, so tell the people.
Oh yes, you can find me on Facebook under Tracy's Treats, or else my business line. You can contact me by phone, and if I don't answer, leave a message. It's 352-460-1941. Is the number. Those are the two primary ways to contact me.
Are you on YouTube at all, or Instagram,
No,
or?
I'm not. I'm on
Okay.
those, but I don't do them for my business.
Okay, okay. Well, you never know where the Lord will take you, girl.
Yeah.
But as you can see, Catryce is fully equipped. She's doing so many wonderful things. And thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you for, in the medical field, you are so needed. I pray for those in the medical field, because right now everyone is being bombarded with the COVID, and there's so many decisions you have to make, and it's a lot going on. But we stay prayerful for everyone. People all over the world, just being prayerful. And thank you so much again, Catryce, for being on the show. Thank you for your awesome testimony. Continue to be a voice, because I truly believe that you have so much to offer. And for our listeners, thank you so much for listening today on this live, and this listen to Catryce's testimony. I pray that your life will be impacted by this, because that's the purpose. God bless you all. Until next time, this has been Journey to Salvation. God bless. Hi, thank you for watching Journey to Salvation, where people share their testimonies of faith. If you would like to be a guest on the show, please email us at info@arlenepoliteministries.com. Now, remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Arlene Polite Ministries. Give me a like and then share with your friends. Thanks again for watching Journey to Salvation.